Alright, cool. Man's got a little Pepsi Max there, innit? With an unlimited pass, you can watch bare movies at Cineworld and get 10% off all snacks and drinks and that.
And remember to subscribe. Finally, some film content. It's been quite a while. Well, not really. Just stop being ungrateful, alright? I'm doing my best here. Get off my fucking back! Hello, this is Bacho. Today I am doing a tier list of all the films I saw in 2024. The reason I'm doing a tier list instead of a ranked video is because it's just easier that way. It's less arbitrary. It's easier for me to figure it out. I know it's all fun and games, but when ranking and comparing films, I find it quite difficult because it's all like, okay, how do we judge the value of this film against that film? We can't. Like, these are two completely different films. When I do ranked lists, that's always subject to change anyway, so this way is just cleaner. I feel a lot better doing it this way. It's a broader but less rigid way of doing it. Like, I can put a bunch of movies into one tier, and that doesn't mean like I'm comparing all of them together or like one's better than the other. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just, hey, this is that good, and I don't really know how it stands with this other film. I just know it's better than these films that are in this tier down here. So there you go. I've done a few tier list videos before. I think it's one of the few YouTube trends that is good, like can generate good content, like content where you can still be fairly in-depth. I mean, making a tier list video, I'd say, is a much better way to categorize films than a ranked video. Yeah, I just go all schizo when trying to compare films. Like, I can't do it. This film, you know, like Challengers and Furiosa, both really good films, like, but who really knows, who can honestly say that they know exactly like which one is better? Like, this film is categorically, quantifiably better than that film. Like, no, it's silly. Before we begin, I'm going to briefly talk about this year in film because it's been interesting. I mean, kind of, I guess, whatever. I didn't see that many big blockbuster, big popular movies. I just watched the films that looked interesting to me. I did catch the odd Deadpool and Wolverine just because like a few of my friends wanted to go see it. I didn't actively avoid mainstream films because I like a good mainstream film as much as the next guy. I just, when I saw like a film that looked like complete shit, I was like, there's just no point in seeing that. I mean, it can be fun to watch a terrible movie like for the sake of making a funny video, but you have to be sparing with it. You have to like not watch too much shit. So yeah, sorry, this tier list does not have Red One, Borderlands, Wicked, or any of that. Just no, I didn't. No, I'm not gonna watch a film just because it's popular. I know it's like it's your obligation as a film reviewer. No, it isn't. It's my obligation to uphold Kino, and those films aren't Kino. Also, I'm glad to be doing this because I get to talk about a lot of films I haven't talked about yet. I have talked about Challenges and The Substance, but there's other films that are really good, like Anora, which I'm pretty sure you're just dying to hear what my thoughts are on them. A lot of good films came out this year. A lot of good films come out every year, really. I mean, I know people think cinema's dying. I don't think it is. I think the reason that people say stuff like cinema is dead is because blockbusters at the moment are quite awful. There's too many of them. An overwhelming, almost disproportionate amount of bad blockbuster mainstream films. There is supposed to be a good selection of quality, accessible media out there, and I'm fine because I've got A24 and all the niche stuff, and I'm like covered on good film content overall. But yeah, for people who don't really like A24 and artsy stuff, they're kind of, I guess they're being screwed over. Not really, but you know, that's why The Critical Drinker and Mauler are really angry right now, or so I've heard. I don't really watch them. For film bros, film people, film girls, gals, whatever, we're covered. We've got like a lot of good films to chew on each year, I'd say. Like, every year is a good year for movies, and every year is a terrible year for movies. It's like, it's the same thing, same fucking story every fucking time. But yeah, not to be all like, oh, media diet and all that, but I would encourage you to maybe try and not see films that look like complete shit, and then be like, oh, what's going on? But then again, I also understand you because maybe there just should be better movies out there for the normies. I guess I'll do an explanation of the tiers, a breakdown, even though I'm pretty sure like they literally all speak for themselves. Yeah, good, great. In the positive realm, we've got decent, and these are kind of just films that weren't like outstanding or really good, but just, yeah, you're solid. That was entertaining enough. That was well made. And then there's the good tier where things get substantially more impressive. And then the top two tiers, great and Bacho tier. Just Bacho because I'm just being funny today. Great joke. The films that go in these two tiers are like the best films of the year, like that ilk. So yeah, just watch out for those. That'll be fun. But yeah, great. You know, you can use any like adjective, like great, excellent. That's sort of what this tier represents. Bacho, I guess we could just say is like means masterpiece or perfect movie, or I wouldn't change a thing, or just really, really uber good. You know, there you go. Amazing tier. That's not to take away from the great tier, because if a film has made it there, it's very, very like it's done some fucking magic shit. Now going down to the negative tiers, we have wasted potential, mediocre, bad, terrible, and Todd Phillips. Yeah, I don't really need to explain any of them. With these two tiers here, wasted potential and mediocre, we're not talking like awful films. We're just talking films that are partially flawed, a little crooked. Mediocre can either mean like so clunky that a good film is kind of demoted to just being mediocre, or it means that a film is perfectly competent but just adds nothing to the craft of cinema, just has nothing to say, was completely just inconsequential and bland and crap. And the reason I've got this very specific wasted potential tier is because I found that this year there are a lot of films that fit this category. In fact, I just want to like pile in a bunch right now that I want to just fucking yes, because honestly, you disappointed me. There were a lot of films that I was looking forward to that disappointed me, and I was like, what the fuck? Films with good premises or good directors or just good concepts, and they weren't brought to fruition. Also, I need to mention that for a film to qualify to be eligible for this ranking, it has to be a 2024 film according to Letterboxd. Like Strange Darling, I saw it in 2024 and technically it feels like a 2024 movie, but it is 2023 on Letterboxd, and I know it's kind of like an OCD anal thing, but that's just how I do it to keep things clean. I saw Hundreds of Beavers in the cinema this year, and I believe that's listed as a 2022 film, so unfortunately that's just not going in today, even though it would be going in Bacho. But yeah, that's always been the way I do things, like by Letterboxd or IMDb, just whatever that says, I do that. That's how I kind of categorize everything. Anyway, we'll just start. Alright, first film of the day, we have Abigail. This film is like a schlocky horror film, nice and gory. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, campy, didn't take itself too seriously, was the perfect tonal balance. Animated, cartoonish characters, especially Dan Stevens' character, and of course Annabelle, the character herself. I really enjoyed Dan Stevens in this. He was giving it his all, just proper hamming it up, being so animated and silly, but just also believable in the film's universe. And the little girl actress from the Matilda reboot, she absolutely nailed it as well. She was awesome. Just really good child performer, apparently. It wasn't like amazing or anything, but I had fun with it. There was some contrived, silly dialogue in there, but again, it's like kind of a B movie in a way. But there was some dialogue where it's like, that's kind of just a bit too on the nose, I guess, or just a bit too pandering, I suppose. There are a few instances of that trite sort of postmodern humour in there, like, gee, did that really happen? Not quite that, but just kind of this popular, broad humour, but there wasn't too much of that, so I'm going to put it in decent. Good time. It was a good time. If you haven't seen it already, I would recommend that if you like kind of campy, Sam Raimi-esque stuff. It's not Sam Raimi, but still. A Different Man. This was a very good indie drama, I suppose, kind of a festival darling, sort of. It's essentially a black comedy character study that sort of explores themes of identity and not being bitter about your predicament in life. It's concise and to the point. It doesn't drag itself out. It's poignant but not like preachy. I enjoyed what it had to say, and I enjoyed like thinking about it for a while after watching the film. It kind of tells a cautionary tale on how not to go about life, like the mindset with which you shouldn't go through life. Sebastian Stan's character is someone who is bitter and just has the wrong attitude to everything in his life. It's like the least efficient headspace to operate in. He's like causing himself so much grief. This is weird, but it did remind me of the contrast between SpongeBob and Squidward. Like, you got SpongeBob, who is just so optimistic about life, and so he's very happy, and he's in pretty much the same predicament as Squidward, who's there being all resentful, like, ugh. It is pretty much that. And the fact that Oswald loves the fucking main character in this, going, oh, I fucking love you so much. It's kind of like when SpongeBob's like fawning over Squidward all the time. And also fucking Sebastian Stan ends up like fucking in cast like that. It's really funny. There's a lot of fun visuals, like funny visuals. It's got a great sense of comedic timing, and it's funny watching this guy just fuck his life up more and more. Ultimately, it's kind of just about ugliness, and let's just say one of the characters is ugly within, and that comes around to bite him in the ass. So yeah, I'm going to put it in good tier. It's not like fantastic or anything, it's just that was a good film. It made me think a little bit. Next up, Alien Romulus. I went to see this film with friends and they didn't like it, but I was fine with it. Some people think it's like really dumb and stupid. I wasn't really paying too much attention to all of the plot beats or whatever, or like, oh, the logic. I found it like perfectly okay. I enjoyed myself. I wasn't expecting anything from it because, like, why do we need another Alien film? My favourite part of this was probably the world building at the start with that planet that's like perpetually like dark and never has any sunlight. I think it was very in keeping with the universe that was set up in that first Ridley Scott film in the 70s. Everything's very industrial and dirty and unromantic. The set design to this film is really good, especially in those first scenes at the beginning. Callie Spini is a great Ripley substitute, I suppose you could call her. She's a really good actress. I really like seeing her in stuff. Obviously the Ian Holm stuff and anything related to like being a gay cameo for like the Alien films, like, oh, look at this, like that was bullshit, that was awful, that needed to get gone, I hated that was just shit. A CGI Ian Holm, no thank you. There's a sequence involving zero gravity and the acid blood from the aliens, and I think that was like a clever utilization of a pre-existing concept. I thought that was fun. Let's put it in Bacho. No, I'm joking. Everyone hates this film. I'll put it in decent, kind of low decent. Annabelle is much better, I'd say. I mean, Abigail. Did I say Annabelle? Did I fucking describe it as Annabelle the whole time? Jesus Christ. Abigail. But for Alien Romulus, I thought the direction and tone was somewhat memorable, I guess. Probably never going to watch it again. Next up, All We Imagine Is Light. This is an Indian movie, but it's not Bollywood. It's quite rare, in fact, I think, for that. No, in fact, this is a very slice of life, reserved, quiet film. There's no like overacting. It's basically just like a documentary almost. You'll find a lot of films on this list will probably be like that. I do like those kind of films. I more so appreciated this film after the fact than I did like watching it at the time, because it's very slow. Again, I wasn't like riveted the whole way through. Very slow. It centers around these two sisters living in Mumbai. The oldest sister is probably the main character, and it's about her dynamic with her younger sister. It tells a good story that tackles the betrothal system in Indian culture and what it had to say on that topic, or how it presented how that would affect the lives of certain characters, was really interesting. Not that much happens in this film. Again, it's very artsy. It's like a festival kind of film. It's very, very, very slow and kind of boring. No, it's not. It's not boring. It's sophisticated. Once it had finished, I did realise how concise it was, and that like every scene sort of tied into this one central theme. Not that much happens. Like, it is all just character stuff, but their journeys, even though they are quiet and somber, are really like subtly delivered, and there is an actual like story there. There is a theme. I don't really want to go into it too much, but it's sort of just about comparing the outlooks of this older and younger sister, like how they've gone about life differently, and one of them kind of comes to a realization, or maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to put that in. It's either in great or good. If it's going in good, it's high. It has the makings of a great film. To some people it will be, but like, I feel disingenuous because, you know, I wasn't like watching it going, oh my god, this is my favourite film. It was just like, oh, that was neat after the fact. It's going in good tier, fuck it. Oh no, am I racist next? This is going to get me in hot water because I thought this film was decent. There you go, spoiler alert. Yeah, I know exactly where it's going. It's going in decent. So this film is actually a Daily Wire film made by Matt Walsh. It's the first Daily Wire film I've ever seen. It's a Borat-style documentary where he goes and interviews these anti-white people, or like these people who like promote this sort of anti-white ideology about how it's an issue that I hear stuff about, and I don't know if it's like an important thing to be talking about. Like, it's such a pressing thing in America. People who are so anti-racist that they almost become racist in the direction of white people, like in like a silly way. And it's just basically about seeing them, interviewing them, and making them say dumb shit, and just like exposing them. So it's quite controversial. It's also just about like this obsession with race and like who has it worse off and who has like the most like suffering points, so to speak. Kind of like very anti-woke kind of stuff, you know, the stuff that they go on about a lot, like, oh, it's all a competition about who can be the most like fucking oppressed, like that kind of rhetoric. But just removing all of that and just judging this as a comedic documentary type of thing, I thought this was good. I haven't watched the other Daily Wire films. I have no interest in seeing them because they seem kind of like just right-wing propaganda or just really overt crap storytelling. But this film, because it was again a documentary, had a minimal amount of ideological storytelling, because if this was a dramatization, you could easily see there being loads of straw men like, look at how these left-wing cooks act like, it's like, oh, isn't it just insane? But here it's just turning on the camera and these people are making a fool out of themselves, and they kind of deserve it because they're fucking insane. I know a few things about Matt Walsh, but I don't really watch him. He doesn't really interest me. It's all just kind of political debate brain crap. I know what he's about. I know he's like anti-gay marriage. I obviously don't agree with that, but in this, like, to give him credit, he does have a certain comedic deadpan quality to him, and I didn't expect like him to be talented in that way. It's not like amazing, but he has some potential to be like good. Maybe he should pursue this instead of like whatever he does online. It's far from a really good film. It's not like Borat level. Like, there are some points where it does get repetitive, like it's the same point about these crazy anti-white people over and over again. Like, isn't it kind of insane how like woke these people are, dude? This is a bit like that. Like, Borat is a lot more varied with all of the different characters that you see in that, and all of the different weirdos and freaks and like misogynists, racists, homophobic people. That's kind of like putting it lightly, because they're like, we want to hang them. And obviously Sacha Baron Cohen's a fucking genius. He's a lot funnier than Matt Walsh. But in this, it's like, it's a cute little film, like as like a starter film, I suppose. I have a soft spot for these fake documentaries anyway. Like, I really enjoy them. You've got like Borat up here, which is like top tier pseudo documentary, like the best of the best. Then like around here you've got Finding Francis by Nathan Fielder, which is pretty good. Like, it's funny. It's not as good as this one though. Then maybe down here is where like Am I Racist resides. But yeah, the main thing that I was worried about going into this film was that it would have this manipulative, deceptive, politically charged storytelling, which it didn't, because again, it's just a bare bones documentary. You could accuse it of it being very selective about the people that it chooses to cast a light on and ridicule, but you could also say the same about Borat. Like, I've always felt that about Borat, that it's basically just going to America and like, okay, here are all the most racist people I could find, most homophobic, you know. It's like, everyone does it because it's funny. You don't want to see like moderate people because it's not like that amusing. However, with this like weird anti-white rhetoric, I don't know how prevalent of a problem that is in America. Like, it could be like a percentile of like people who actually think that, and this film is just kind of blowing it up. But for what it's worth, I found laughing at these people funny, and it is interesting to see these real people, like, what the fuck. However, there were a few of these pseudo dramatic scenes where it was like clearly supposed to be like a film, like a fake scene just to demonstrate a point, and they look like corporate ass. Like, that's like usual Daily Wire shit. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, that looked like ass. But all the documentary stuff, that was fine. But yeah, again, it's going in decent. A bit weird how like it's so controversial. I guess like Matt Walsh is one of those figures. But yeah, you just got to remove all that when you watch this and just like judge it as a film. And if you think it's boring, fair enough. It is a bit repetitive, but I enjoyed it. If every future Daily Wire project promises to be like this, non-political or whatever, I'll maybe watch some of those, but I doubt it. Next up, some real kino now, Anora. Alright, Anora. So I think a lot of people like this film, and I'm one of them. Anora is a superb, non-stop comedy that is extremely funny throughout, apart from the times where it doesn't want to be funny, but that's another topic. It's very funny, everyone should see this. Everyone who watches this film will most likely enjoy it. So for that, I'd recommend it to everyone. It's very accessible, it's quite straightforward and quite simple in its narrative. It's by director Sean Baker, who as a filmmaker I absolutely love. I really liked Red Rocket, and the Florida Project is amazing with those child performers. I don't know how he got those performances out of those kids, but he did it. However, Anora is done in quite a different style to Sean Baker's usual directorial sensibilities. A lot of his films have this dirty, gritty, disgusting vibe, and this film isn't exactly like sanitized, but it is more modern looking, I suppose. A bit cleaner, a bit more ordinary, more so like a Safdie Brothers type of vibe. It's very frantic both with its cinematography and its overall story, but it's less so about making you feel anxiety and more so just about the craziness and how humorous it is. It never gets boring. It's also a vehicle for Mickey Madison to deliver a sensational performance, and I know I use a lot of big words all the time, but I really mean it. Like, this is sensational. She 100% manifested this character. She is Anora. It's such a detailed performance. It is, again, like, she is the movie. Anora is the film. But when you're watching the film, you're not exactly thinking, oh, this is really good acting, because you're just seeing the character. It's one of those films, like, you forget it's acting again. Mickey Madison is fucking awesome. I can't wait to see her in more shit. This film, however, like, overall, again, it is just a simple comedy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I guess thematically it didn't achieve that much like profundity, they didn't have so much to say, or maybe it did, because there are a few things at the end that kind of hint at some themes. For the most part, it is just a really, really good comedy. I really did appreciate the final scene where the tone completely switches gears. All of the whimsical goofiness has sort of been sucked out of the scene because the shenanigans are all over now and she has to go back to her life, she has to face reality, and the way it kind of depicts that idea is just so beautifully executed, all visual, all subtle, and during that scene there are a few breadcrumbs that hint at possible like larger themes about what's happened, like what's gone on in this film. But I don't really want to say because it's unsaid in the film, and I don't really want to say it now. It should remain unsaid, at least that's my opinion, like what the themes are, if there are any. That ending was just so poignant and wonderful. That ending's probably what got it the Palme d'Or, because you usually need to do something subversive to get the Palme d'Or, don't you? They just love that shit. I might be putting this in good because, again, its main achievement is that it's just a really well executed comedy that doesn't really go for anything else, but maybe it does. It isn't my favourite of Sean Baker's work, like I do prefer the gritty, dirty vibe that he goes for, but it has started to grow on me a little bit. It might be that the character performance is just so good that it elevates like a fairly standard plot. Definitely good, definitely solid, great. Oh, it's like on the cusp of good and great. It doesn't really matter, does it? I'll put it in great. Yeah, great. It's great. Sean Baker's fucking based. It deserves all of the positivity that it's been receiving. Yeah, that final scene in Anora completely recontextualised the whole film. Next up, Arcadian. Arcadian is a Nicolas Cage horror film where he has two sons, and the two sons get up to all kinds of mischief, not really. But it's a monster, it's a creature feature with a very unique and interesting monster creature design. I went into this quite enthusiastic because I like a good little horror movie, but it did let me down overall. Nick Cage actually gives a good performance, there's no problems there, and so do the kids, to be fair. I really like the dynamic he had with the two boys. Where it lets itself down is just certain aspects of the world building, as well as certain logistical decisions that are made. You're not 100% clued into how this post-apocalyptic universe really operates and how dangerous these monsters actually are. The stakes are always flip-flopping or a little inconsistent, so it's hard to be like scared. Also, like, important context behind certain side characters and certain like establishments just aren't really like explored or explained. Again, you just don't really know how anything works and what the rules are and why people are making certain decisions and why people can't do this or that. There might just be like 5 scenes missing or something that just completely fix it, but I don't know. I do like the creature design, that's probably like one of the best parts. The direction's fine, it's just like, I don't know, it just gets clunky. I'm going to put it in wasted potential, that's a good example of that, because again, just enjoyed like the first 30 minutes or something. I just don't get it. Like, do you want us to be afraid of these creatures or don't you? I'm like, why is it easy at times and difficult at other times? I don't know. Next up, we got Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse biopic. When I watched this, I knew diddly squat about Amy Winehouse, so bear that in mind. I'm not judging this based on accuracy, just on like filmmaking. You know, Social Network isn't accurate at all, but that's one of the greatest films ever made. Now, this film is very controversial, so like I assume that it's very inaccurate in a lot of areas because it sort of depicts Amy to be quite aggressive towards her partner when the usual narrative we're all used to is that she was abused by these men. I don't know. I don't actually know. As a film, though, I remembered like really liking it at the time and becoming absorbed, but in retrospect, it's okay. It's going in decent, I think. There's a lot of musical biopics that are awful and lackluster and pandering, and this is like a hair above those. I thought the lead actress was very good. I found following her character very easy. I thought she was very empathetic. This film does border into the territory of being very wishy-washy, like a lot of other biopics where it's like, oh, this happened, then this happened, and it kind of like paraphrases things like this is someone's entire life that's getting like reduced into like an hour and a half or like 2 hours. That's just the case with a lot of biopics though. Again, I thought this was just a bit better than like the usual typical bland biopics, mainly because I found the acting and dialogue very naturalistic, particularly between Amy and her boyfriend in the film. Jack O'Connell was really good. I can't say that the story didn't absorb me at the time, and I had no qualms with it, no big qualms. For me, knowing nothing about Amy Winehouse, it was interesting to watch this and learn things about her, because obviously I'm like a completely clueless. But yeah, not substantially great, but momentarily absorbing, I suppose. That's the film. It was interesting to see the stories behind the lyrics in her songs, that was all cool. But yeah, it's going in decent. And there you go. The breadtubers did not like it. It's a very hurtful representation of Amy. I empathise with her the whole way. I think I heard that people were criticising this film because it kind of sensationalises Amy's life and like makes her like, look at how fucking rough she was and how much drugs she took. But like, no, it's an empathetic story, clearly. I didn't like judge her watching it. I didn't condemn her like, oh, you silly woman, stop doing that. So next we got Bird, or Turd more like. This is by the director of American Honey, which I didn't like. I didn't like that film that much. I found it kind of floaty and flowery and kind of vague. Vaguely artistic with no concrete point, just a vibe movie. And I kind of had the same experience with Bird. I almost picked up this immature sensibility from the filmmaker as if they hadn't fully developed their filmmaking identity yet. They hadn't fully fleshed out their artistic voice. Like, this didn't really have that much to say. It's another one of those films that has floaty, handheld cinematography with not much character depth, but it thinks it does. I didn't find any of the characters really compelling. I thought this was kind of a fake artsy film. There's a lot of films like this that are vaguely slice of life with not much originality in the filmmaking, just like, oh, I'm just going to float the camera around, you know, like Nomadland and shit like that. People who think that Terrence Malick... Now, you do have to establish themes, you have to establish real, concrete emotions, and because I just wasn't interested in this in the slightest, it felt like it went on for ages. I think it was like over 2 hours at least, maybe. Or maybe it just fucking felt like that. But yeah, I was really frustrated by the end. I was like, please end. Barry Keoghan's in it. I'm fucking sick of seeing Barry Keoghan. He's in everything. He's becoming like a fake artistic person. It's annoying. Like, everything's about aesthetics for him since Saltburn. Like, he was really good in Killing of a Sacred Deer, but don't become like a branded version of artistry, please. But yeah, Bird is just proof that art house films can also be just as formulaic as like Marvel films. I'm going to put it in mediocre. Next up is Blitz by Steve McQueen, who is definitely having a big dip in his career in terms of quality right now. Between this and Widows, his most recent films have been quite lacking. Blitz is very basic in its presentation, it's very conventional and non-challenging. It doesn't feel all that unique as a piece of art, which is particularly jarring considering it's made by Steve McQueen, who was one of the greatest filmmakers of the modern era. There are splashes of artistic uniqueness here and there, hints of this experimental gentle but poignant take on the Blitz, but it's just, there's not enough. And I do feel like Steve McQueen's social commentary is getting more and more dumbed down and simplistic, which is very unfortunate. I don't know why he's felt the need to resort to messaging that's very heavy-handed. You could enjoy this film as a more conventional Hollywood narrative, but it does veer into cartoonish territory as well. Like, there are times where it feels like a fucking Oliver Twist film. Fucking Stephen Graham turns up in this, like, as a huge surprise. I'm like, oh my god, Stephen Graham's in this. He's a terrific, naturalistic actor, and he plays this like, I need you to do a job for me, son, hey? Like, no, I don't want to see this shit. Hey, little boy, are you alright? Are you lost? Hello, little black boy. No, okay. And there's also a scene where the Avengers of marginalised groups are all present in one room, and there's this speech about togetherness, and it's just, like, not what you want in, like, a visceral war film that's supposed to be realistic. It's like almost disrespectful. Adults don't need this kind of simplistic dumb shit. Like, this works in like a Star Trek episode where it's like, and we're all one people, and you've got like Chekhov and Ahura, and it's all like, no, we don't see race, we just see people or whatever, or humans or whatever, you know. Cheesy but silly, that's okay in Star Trek. In a fucking Blitz film, no. No. Steve McQueen has already demonstrated how talented he is. He does not need to, like, stump to these levels. It is very distracting when scenes like these occur, and it takes, like, a real social issue and just turns it into some kind of buzzwordy piece of shit. Like, no, you don't want to do that. It's got to the point where this overt messaging has almost, like, muddied the waters when it comes to, like, genuine discourse on these matters. I don't know who's responsible for this, but these movements have been turned into these silly brand gimmicks. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm going to put Blitz in wasted potential. It's not like... I did actually like rate it like 7 out of 10 when I saw it initially. I wouldn't say it's like a shit film. It's still got a lot of good elements to it. It is definitely flawed though, but wasted potential is kind of perfect. The perfect like description. Steve McQueen, get your shit together, please. Next we have challenges. This currently stands as one of my favourite films of the year, which is quite funny. It's definitely a film enthusiast type of film because it's technically very tight. There's a lot of like really cool musical cues. It has that high octane pacing of like a social network, and it's a very strange premise too, which film bros also love. It's a Luca Guadagnino film, so it's very horny, but I think in this particular case the horniness is in service of something good, something valid. It's not just like thirst. It's very horny, very homoerotic, but not in a way that's sensational, or at least it is. When it is sensational, it's for a good reason. This film is a partial comedy, so it's horny in a self-aware way where it's sort of like making fun of the characters in a way, because the characters are very flawed and bizarre. The film knows that these characters are fucked up and flawed, which is good. Other Guadagnino films can get lost in indulgent sexuality, but this one doesn't, luckily, which is kind of miraculous. It seems like Luca Guadagnino's directorial style always rides on the very thin line between genuine artistry and profundity and just crass thirsty horniness. But with this film, thank God, it actually has a purpose, is in service of something. But yeah, he's got a fetish. Challenges is also quite similar to films like Whiplash and shows like The Bear, in that it's kind of a study of obsession and intensely committing yourself to a certain craft. This is sort of Luca's take on this subgenre of obsessiveness, and that's fine by me. It was really cool. Pacing wise, it's probably the tightest film I've seen of his, because he does get quite indulgent with the lengths of his films. The dialogue scenes in this are really well written and intense and funny. It proves to be an interesting character study about this three-way psychosexual relationship involving tennis, and it was fun learning and observing the different dynamics between each character and like how they tick, how their mind operates, what drives them, what motivates them. And even though the characters are nutty, it's still an entertaining film in that it's motivational, because again, it's still about like committing yourself to a craft and doing your absolute best at it. It's strangely, perversely triumphant at the end, which is funny. Pacing wise, again, I wouldn't shave anything off it. I think it's tight. I think it goes on for just the perfect amount of time. I think there's no fat to it. It doesn't really have a big statement to make. Again, it's just an interesting character study about these three fucking weirdos, and technically it's marvelous. Good cinematography, great editing, Great musical score. I am looking forward to watching this again. One of my favourites of the year. Sex and tennis. And the three leads are really good, especially Josh O'Connor. And Zendaya, by the way, who everyone gives a lot of shit, but she is a really good actress. Like, I don't know, like, she's really good. Euphoria, she's sensational in Euphoria. Like, I get it because she's got one of those one-word names. People think she's like some trite pop star. I don't know. Yeah, this is definitely better than Queer, which we'll be talking about later. I'm gonna put Challengers in great. It's not like a fucking sensational, revolutionary masterpiece. It's just really well made for what it is. Yeah, great tier. Next up we have Alex Garland's Civil War, which was a film I really liked, even though it was quite simplistic. I think people wanted this to be a scathing political allegory that we could apply to the events of today, but really it's just a visceral depiction of the life of a war photographer, essentially. And I really liked it for that. It wasn't really about these broad geopolitical themes, it was all on the ground and quite close-knit. Again, it's more so about the viscerality of the moment-to-moment conflicts rather than the overarching picture, which I didn't mind. Alex Garland is a terrific director, and so all of these tense scenes that are meant to demonstrate how harrowing war can be are very effective. And thanks to the many scenes of utter tension, the film never really loses your interest. It keeps you gripped and on your toes the whole time, so it's a good experience. It is quite a short-lived story, so maybe the characters aren't as meaty or as fleshed out as one would hope. But as this simple Mad Max Fury Road point A to point B sort of narrative, it's really good. It's like a nice little movie. Because it is an objective showcase of warfare, it doesn't really take any political sides, so I guess that's kind of refreshing. And the scene featuring Jesse Plemons is tremendously tense. Yeah, only hot takes here. I'm going to put it in good. Conclave, I'm going to keep this brief. Maybe a younger version of me wouldn't have liked this, but today I like Conclave. It's kind of an Oscar bait film, or at least it has the DNA of an Oscar bait film, but it's just a really well made version of that. It's essentially about a conclave, which is like the process of electing a new pope, and it's that, but just Game of Thronesified and just really like suspenseful and interesting and cool, and like, ooh, a scandal here and there and whatever. It's made up of a lot of dramatic dialogue scenes that are all really well written and well acted and gripping. Ralph Fiennes is really good. The cinematography on a blocking level is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, it's obviously not reinventing the wheel or doing anything like absolutely outrageous, but yeah, for a film about popes, it's pretty good, and I'm putting it in good. I really liked it. It was a fun time. An Oscar bait film elevated by good direction. Next we have Cuckoo, which is a really well-made horror film. Nothing like absolutely like jaw-droppingly incredible or anything, but just good creature, good premise, good setup, good concept and what have you. Just well executed, fun, engaging, gripping, ominous, mystifying a little bit. Gets quite schlocky near the end, which I actually like this time round because of how like weird the premise was. Hunter Schafer gives a great performance in this, absolutely carries the film. She is a tremendous actress. Dan Stevens is also in this, and he's really good as well, playing a creepy German guy, because that stereotype will never become offensive. I really found it interesting. I really liked how it lived up to the name. It was just a cool concept, and yeah, I want to watch it again someday. It's going in good. Dune Part 2, everyone's fucking favourite. The best film ever made, apparently. Or is it? I actually want to rewatch Dune Part 1 and 2 and like kind of see if I get as immersed as I do when watching like Lord of the Rings or something. Because objectively, I really respect it for how technically good it is and how well made and well acted it is. There's really good themes as well. I mean, it has the books to thank for that, but still, I haven't become engrossed with these characters yet as I have like something like The Lord of the Rings, which is like always going to be here, or like Star Wars, like the original Star Wars. I want to properly sit down and absorb this and watch it again, back to back, the two films. But for right now, I don't really have a problem putting it in great because technically it's marvellous. I'll put it in great, I don't really care. Gorgeous movie. I think Dune Part 1 would go in good, but who cares anyway. It's slightly like, it's a build-up film. Dune Part 2 is like the payoff though. It's got more thematic substance in it. Next up we have Drive Away Dolls, which is the first film we saw from Ethan Coen, I believe. One sec, I'll just look it up. Yeah, it's by Ethan Coen, and it's the first solo film we've seen from him since Joel Coen and Ethan Coen split up, went their separate ways. Based on Joel Coen doing Tragedy of Macbeth on his own, and Ethan doing this on his own, I guess Joel was always the more serious one. Like, he was the one that recommended they do a Cormac McCarthy film. Maybe he's who we have to thank for Fargo and No Country for Old Men. And maybe Ethan is the one we have to thank for Big Lebowski. Or maybe, and this is all just theoretical by the way, Ethan is like the goofy clown one who does all like the comedy, like the burn after reading stuff. And Joel is like the serious one who's like, let's contemplate death with like fucking No Country for Old Men or whatever. I will say though that judging everything off Drive Away Dolls, Joel Coen is currently my most favourite Coen brother. Jesus Christ. I didn't like Drive Away Dolls. I found it quite gimmicky. I found the comedy quite just one note and unfunny. It's just kind of about lesbians being horny and like dildos and stuff. It's not well written. It's this whimsical plot, but it's just not engaging. Margaret Qualley plays like this kind of hicky woman who's just not funny. It's a really gimmicky performance. Got nothing out of this. It's really forgettable. Mediocre probably, but honestly I was kind of like just... It's like a bad comedy, and those can be quite, like, you know, quite cringe. It's very disappointing that a Coen brother made this. It doesn't even have that Coen brother comedy charm either. It's just kind of like sort of KSI made it. No, that's not bad. Put it in mediocre. It can stay there. I was honestly tempted to put it in bad. That might be a bit too harsh. 4 out of 10 movie, I'd say. Okay, so now we have Deadpool and Wolverine. This is stale, boring crap, more shit. It feels like the 70th film where I've had to say, this Marvel film is really bland and crap and boring and doesn't do anything. The cinematography is fucking like so washed out. Plot is so arbitrary and contrived. Like, oh, we need to go and get this because of this, and finally we can be in the same universe and multiverse. I don't care. Deadpool's here now. I'm sick of all of these obvious plot beats and MacGuffins. It's so formulaic. The comedy's mostly simplistic. I never really laughed. I don't think I laughed at all. It's like, it's whatever, who gives a shit? And there are cameos in it. You get to see Johnny Storm, Chris Evans' Johnny Storm, and you get to see the Blade guy, Wesley Snipes, but it's all just like quick dopamine hits. That's just fucking dopamine. And it's not even good dopamine at this point. It's not even good candy. Like, okay, give us some fucking slop, but I don't even enjoy the slop at this point. Like, that's all this is. It's like, oh, here's this person. It's like 2 seconds of enjoyment, and it's just fucking empty nothingness after. It's just like, it's shit. Oh, an obligatory phony character arcs with Deadpool. I've never really taken this guy seriously. Whatever. Oh, it's got soul and heart. No, it's not. We've brought back Wolverine in the perfect way where we don't want to tarnish the reputation of Logan, but we still have something good for the fans so they can enjoy classic Wolverine. Like, I just hate the fucking in-universe explanation as to how the studio have figured out a way to bring back this fucking guy again. It's just, everything's so meta, and it's all meta. This is the first time I have severely disagreed with one of Red Letter Media's takes on a film, but who cares? I don't disagree. I'm not going to, like, cancel them! It's not film Twitter, they can have they're entitled to their opinion. But yeah, strongly disagreed with them. I'd recommend watching Liam Does Stuff's video on this. He made a really good, concise review of this, really like artistically worded, really eloquently worded. He kind of like hit the nail on the head with this. I'm going to put it's like mediocre is almost too good for it. Maybe even bad. Maybe even fucking bad. But honestly, oh fuck it, mediocre. It's a nothing burger. Oh, and there's tons of unpolished, uninspired CGI as well. Okay, good. We're back to an interesting film now. Emilia Perez. This film is quite strange. So to put it briefly, this is about a cartel boss who undergoes a transition into becoming a woman and kind of like adopts a whole new persona once transitioning. Oh, and it's also a musical with multiple dance numbers. It's a very strange film. I didn't know it was a musical going in, so that was a nice surprise, but I actually ended up enjoying myself a little bit. Like, I was never bored by this, I was never disinterested. I was always watching fairly intently, it never lost my attention. I did actually end up enjoying the songs in the film as well. Now, this film does feature an interesting discussion about transgenderism, because what happens when this cartel boss transitions to a she is she kind of becomes this philanthropist. She becomes all good and righteous, and it's strange because she believes that she's literally become a different person, so now she's good all of a sudden, now she's doing all of these great things. She could only start living this way after she had undergone all of the procedures, and it sort of highlights the hypocrisy of this person, because it's almost like she doesn't want to take accountability for her past actions because that's not her anymore. So it's like playing around with all of these themes of identity, and I found that really interesting. Is this character just being exploitative or taking advantage of this procedure? And it's fascinating to see someone who truly believes that they're a different person completely reinvent themselves morally. It's definitely a weird one. It's not like a great movie. It's fucking wacky, I've got to say. Tonally, it's a bit all over the place, but in a way that I kind of liked. There's a lot of interesting, funny technical decisions. The choreography, the dance choreography is really good. I'm going to put it in decent for now. I can't really quantify it though, and that's a good thing. However, the musical component definitely did make certain scenes that probably weren't intended to be comedic, just so. I'm not complaining though, because it was funny. Overall though, I don't really know what that film's intentions were, and that's kind of interesting. Furiosa. Of all of the action blockbusters I've seen this year, this is by far pushing the envelope for what is doable in an action set piece the most. This is technically one of the most impressive films I've seen this year. It's excellent. The action is jaw-droppingly good. It deserves so much more attention than it got. It's nearly a perfect film. It's a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, and it's utterly contrasting structurally. Fury Road was a fast-paced A to B story which took place within like 2 days in the universe. Furiosa is, all things considered, a very slow film when it comes to just the average blockbuster, really. It takes its time, it fleshes the universe out, it chronicles multiple years in this universe, completely opposite to Mad Max Fury Road. I love how different it is to its 2015 counterpart and how much it shines for that exact reason. The fact that it did all of these things completely differently and was still so entertaining and engaging. The Furiosa character is a stoic girl who doesn't speak, easily could have not worked, but it does somehow. The presentation of her journey is a testament to how effective visual storytelling can be, because it's mostly all done visually. Even though it's not necessarily like the best film of the year, I don't even know which is, because that's the whole point of this video, is like we're not actually picking the best, we're not stacking films on top of each other. I mean, we literally are, but we're just like tiering them. But I'm actually going to put Furiosa in Bacho tier because it's just so well made and amazing and astonishing, and just any word, any adjective I can think of. It's sinful that this film almost didn't make its money back. I don't know what happened, maybe it was the marketing, but this was one of the best films of the year. I don't really have any complaints other than maybe some unpolished CGI, some things that look a little like, okay, unfinished, but still love the action anyway. Gladiator 2 didn't need to exist, didn't need to happen. Technically it's good, it's well acted, whatever, but it's just kind of like a watered down version of the first film. I'm going to put it in mediocre easily, that's an easy decision. Denzel Washington's character was interesting though, but I don't know, I'm never going to watch it again. There's so many films I'm going to be like, I'm never going to watch it again. Yeah, Gladiator 2 didn't need to happen. Can't wait for Ridley Scott to make Thelma and Louise 2 and then Black Hawk Down 2. Black Hawks Down. Heretic with Hugh Grant, another horror film. I went to see a lot of horror films this year because I like watching horror films in the cinema, and there's a lot of interesting ones being released. So this is another fairly basic horror film, small scale premise, small cast. What makes this film special is that Hugh Grant is the villain, which is something he usually doesn't do. He's this menacing dude. And the film kind of starts a lot of theological discussions, which were interesting. It's all about dissecting religion and faith. That's kind of the whole shtick. And it was interesting to absorb the things it was saying, but ultimately it kind of ended at a simplistic point about, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah. Its final statement is kind of just like, it's underwhelming. It's simplistic again, but it's a decent film. Hugh Grant's really good in it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with it. Probably never gonna see it again, but yeah, just decent. Next up, I saw the TV Glow. Now this was funny because I didn't really like it at all. So I saw the TV Glow is this surrealist film. This surrealist horror film, I suppose. It has a very dreamlike and mesmerising atmosphere, which I appreciated. Unfortunately, it's brought down by a terrible performance by the lead actor. I'm forgetting his name, but he sucks. He is awful. I never took him seriously. He's laughably bad. He's just going like this the whole time. It's like, this is a film, this is a serious film. I don't know if you know. If you want to like try, if you want to put some effort in, that would be good. It's kind of like someone saw a David Lynch film and said, I'm going to do that, and it just doesn't quite stick the landing. The dialogue is also really corny. Like, there's no characters in this that you can connect with because they all just kind of feel like weird, jarring robots. This film really wanted you to take it seriously, and I just did not. It was kind of just whatever. The tone was the only good thing about it, but the characters sucked. I know it's about body dysmorphia because the director came out and said it, but that doesn't mean that like it's suddenly good just because it has like a secret hidden message. Like, all of those things I just said still are valid points. It still sucks. I don't care. Like, people these days seem to think that just because there's a hidden message or hidden theme that like instantly equals profundity. Like, no, really didn't get anything out of this, and it kind of just bored me. The acting is awful, and this is fucking clown shit. It's kind of bad. I don't know, mediocre. Maybe I'll put it in wasted potential, and that's being generous. This is a message to the director of I Saw the TV Glow. You're not allowed to just reveal the secret theme of the movie. Like, you have to let people figure it out for themselves. Otherwise, it's like, it proves that it's not very good. You just gave it away like that because you probably were like, oh, no one's going to get it because I didn't do it well. Like, just revealing the answer like that, it's forcing it. Like, you shouldn't do that. Yeah. Bad director. You're clearly trying to pastiche David Lynch, and I hope that the fans of this film that are going around saying it's about body dysmorphia actually figured it out for themselves and didn't just like ape what that guy said. Oh, it's about that. I needed you to tell me that so I could enjoy it. I'm being a bit mean-spirited, sorry. Just thought it was kind of like shit. Of course, Twitter liked it. Inside Out 2. This did not need to exist. It's going straight in mediocre. I watched this. It was entertaining enough. It wasn't like a bad film. It was just completely... It added nothing. It added nothing to culture. It was unnecessary, inconsequential, even shamelessly repeats similar beats to the first, where the emotions get lost in the brain and they have to find their way back, like we've done this before. Riley has an emotional crisis and they have to solve it, and it just happens again in this, but it's anxiety, so people think it's new when it's not that different to the first. I was speaking to a friend of mine who said that the depiction of the anxiety emotion was kind of on point, and I wouldn't disagree with that, but I'm just not interested in this film at all. It went by quick though, it was fine, it was inoffensive. Now we have Joker. I wonder where this is going to go. What the fuck's happening there? Let's put it in Batcho tier, right next to Furiosa. No. Okay, I've already reviewed this anyway, so let's try and keep this brief. Okay, so the objectives first. It still has that kind of manipulative, simplistic storytelling of the first Joker, where it's like, everything's sad, I'm going to play a violin, that's the score for fucking 2 hours. You need to feel sad, no subtlety to the filmmaking, no genuine emotions being conveyed, just all, like, obligatory beats. The musical numbers are not only lackluster, but they're poorly intermixed with the overall structure of the film. They just come at arbitrary times. Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn is nothing in this. This tries to go for a subversive message that critiques the audience of the first film, which I get. It's a valid thing to do, it's a valid approach. What this film does, probably accidentally, but just because it's so clunkily done, it kind of negates the suffering of this mentally ill character it's set up in the first film and kind of paints this bleak, oh, well, he's fucked, so yeah, he dies. It doesn't really critique the Joker in a nuanced way where it's like, oh, well, he's got all this mental shit going on and you can sympathise with him, but also, like, he's evil. Like, the first one had already done that anyway, really. The nuance already existed. Just because you have a few incels online ruining it doesn't mean you need to fucking address it in a movie. The whole point of characters like these are you're supposed to sympathise with fucked up, messed up maniacs. Todd Phillips doesn't get it. He succumbed to social pressure of Twitter or whatever. The first film doesn't glamorize these heinous acts, it pseudo-glamorizes it as a way of showing what it's like from Joker's perspective, from Arthur's perspective. It's like a juxtaposition, you know, it's not like that fucking scene from Reservoir Dogs is glamorizing cutting a fucking guy's ear off. It's just like, this is juxtaposition. This is what filmmaking can do sometimes. I didn't even like the first one. I didn't even like the first Joker, as you may know. It's very confused because it's like Joker needs to take accountability for his actions, which he does to a certain extent, but also so do the people, like the people who created the society that fucked him up in the first place, or partially fucked him up, because there's a bit of, it's nature versus nurture. There is a nuance there to be explored, but the film is just like millions of miles away. But the thing that made me hate this film is that there's just a rape scene in it, and it's the most egregious, fucking disrespectful thing I've ever seen in cinema. Well, I'm being hyperbolic, but still. People think it wasn't a rape scene, and fair enough, okay, maybe it wasn't, but still, it kind of had the visual language of a rape scene. It, like, visually was very suggestive of that. It wanted you to think those things when you saw a guy get stripped down in the shower, and that's almost even worse, just kind of like, oh, we're going to hint at it. Just objectively speaking, that scene has the pastiche of a rape scene. Like, it's weird to say, but that's just what it is. All it was missing was, like, someone dropping the bar of soap. I'm going to put it in Todd Phillips tier, but if I'm being honest for a second, it's probably just, it would just go in bad tier, but I just found parts of it so disrespectful. It's just quite deeply flawed. It's not an awful, terrible movie. When I did do a little rank for myself of all of this year's films, I did put it at the bottom, just, I guess, out of principle. And again, I'm not saying that sequels to films can't be like an antithesis, like a subversion of the first film. It's just that this is so retardedly and clunkily done that it conveys messages that I'm pretty sure weren't intended. It's not a wholesome film, it's a lie. Next up, Yorgos Lanthimos' Kinds of Kindness. It's quite impressive that he made this quickly after, or he released this quickly after Poor Things, one of his greatest films, isn't it? Probably. Kinds of Kindness is an anthology film. It is 3 separate stories that go on for roughly an hour each, I think. I think the first story is my favourite one, but essentially there is this reoccurring theme about conditional love or conditional friendship or conditional affection. It's a really interesting study of all that and like what people will do to sort of be socially accepted or socially embraced. It's really cool. It's really weird in typical Yorgos Lanthimos style. It's all strange, warped versions of acceptance and social climbing, and it's just, yeah, it's weird. Almost like transaction-based friendship where you have to offer something up. However, I didn't connect with it that much because I'm just not a big anthology guy. It's essentially just 3 short films, which is fine. And yeah, thematically they all tie in together, and that's cool. But yeah, I'll put it in good. It's in high good. Very high good. Yeah, it's really like well made and everything. The third story is probably my least favourite. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, unnecessary, boring, melodramatic, cheesy, try all of the negatives, all the stuff I don't like. Obviously great CGI, but that's been the case with all these ape films. This is the 4th of the recent ape franchise, the franchise reboot thing. It's definitely the weakest. It's definitely like, it's not even got Matt Reeves directing it, so it's even more bland. I don't even like the Matt Reeves films that much, to be fair. I think these films get away with being extremely cheesy and unoriginal just because their main characters are all CGI apes that look really impressive. If they were all humans, it would just be like another generic story. But it was competent enough, I guess. It wasn't awful. But I am tempted to put it in bad just because of how, I don't know, uninspired the writing is. But I'm putting it in mediocre, sod it. Okay, finally, Longlegs. This is probably the reason why wasted potential exists as a tier in this video. Holy shit. I've kind of wanted to say this for a long time. I don't know why there was so much build-up and anticipation saying this was like one of the scariest films ever made when it's like nothing close. It's this slow, semi-creepy film, I guess. Atmospherically, I love it, particularly like the first hour or so. I think it's such a palpable atmosphere. It really absorbs you. It's so effective. And yeah, for the first hour, it's incredibly ominous and brooding and dreary. I loved it. Definitely taking a lot of inspiration from films like Seven and other like David Lynch films, but I didn't mind that. But it's not like some new original avant-garde masterpiece like the fucking advertising was making it out to be. Presentation-wise, it's cool, and Nick Cage gives a really good performance, but it's all in service of a not very interesting concept. Also, that horror concept, isn't fleshed out that much. It's not given that much time to breathe. It doesn't develop into anything interesting. It's just sort of like a few creepy visuals, which are cool, but I don't know, the story just ended up being really just forgettable, lackluster. The ending's just kind of okay. It doesn't really commit to anything interesting or have any of these grandiose themes or like hidden messages, or maybe it does and I just missed it, but I'm not interested enough to go back and see. Wasted potential, easily. There's nothing in it that's properly brought to fruition. It's just kind of an unfinished film. Next up, Love Lies Bleeding. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, I guess, because it's an interesting film. Unfortunately, like Longlegs, it did disappoint me in the end, however. Rose Glass directed this, who directed Saint Maud. I absolutely adored Saint Maud. It was a great little horror film with a really good, like, thematic undertones or whatever about religion. It was a great religious horror film about faith, everything Longlegs wanted to be but wasn't. So I was really hyped for this film, but I watched it, and a lot like Longlegs, it's got like a good starter concept, but the execution, particularly towards the end, is just lacking. For one, there's a lot of crimes committed by the main characters, and it's very clunky, like in a way where it's like they couldn't get away with this. It's just silly. There's no consequence to anything. People getting shot in the head in broad daylight. It's just silly. Like, you need to like establish some rules here. Also, Ed Harris is this huge crime lord who's got no security when it comes to that final set piece where they sneak into his house. It's like he's easily thwarted there. It's all, of course, centered around that main relationship between Kristen Stewart and the hench gym woman, the roid head, basically. And it's sort of wink romanticizing this relationship that is indeed toxic. But the thing is, I was never in sync with the emotions of Kristen Stewart's character because she was so poorly treated by this woman. Like, it was so obviously abusive. I don't understand why Kristen Stewart was drawn to this person to begin with, really, or why she was devoted to this person. And I get that's how abusive relationships work, like damaged people kind of like latch on to others, latch on to tormentors. I get it, and that can be like, maybe you could say that in its defense. But like with Bonnie and Clyde, you know it's a toxic relationship, but you can still empathize with the characters. This, I couldn't empathize with the characters. I don't think they were that, especially the hench gym woman. She didn't have that much depth. There was cool symbolism that was in service of underdeveloped themes. Like at the end, when it had that kind of pseudo grandiose moment where they were giants and like they were galloping off into the sunset, basically, I wanted to be like, haha, that's funny. That, like, I wanted to be in their shoes. It was going for this message of they're happy, but it's toxic, but it's kind of funny as well. It just didn't properly make you feel all of those emotions at once. Really, you're thinking, Kristen Stewart, why are you doing this? I don't like you guys enough to really kind of get behind this. Like, a more appropriate ending would have been Kristen Stewart shooting the woman, like killing the woman, like redeeming herself a little bit. I don't know, everything in this needed more development because by the end it was just like, I don't know, nothing was earned. And there was some really cool surrealist stuff that happened at the end that in a vacuum I did like, but again, in service of what? It's not a bland movie by any means, it's just a film that could have been good but is just clunkily executed. Yeah, you're out of sync with the characters. I'm pretty sure the ending is supposed to be ironic, but it is murky as to what it's going for. Challengers, for instance, does a much better job at presenting a toxic relationship in a way that's like kind of, haha, we all know it's toxic, but you also kind of root for the characters and they're three-dimensional and interesting. This is kind of just like a lot of aesthetics, a lot of ideas, a lot of like, oh cool, a lot of little mini themes, but no like solid pie. That's such a stupid way of putting it. And yeah, again, plot-wise kind of clunky, like just people doing stupid shit that should get them arrested and there not being consequences. Special thanks to the patrons. Thank you Matt Delaney, thank you Mason Lydon, thank you DF, thank you Oh I'm Dean, thank you Doug Gem.